All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in this evening. Well, it's evening for me. Thanks for joining in from wherever you are, at whatever time you're watching. Glad that you would join me as I do some live coding. Hopefully, not struggling too much through what I need to do. But we'll see, how these things go. So, what I want to do is continue on from last time. We're actually nearing the end of what I think I can do in this project. And that's mostly because I think it's in a pretty good place. But I've also been thinking about next projects that I want to work on. Like, I do want to do a full tutorial of all creating a new site, and actually, in fact, I want to create my a site that I can host all of these tutorials on and post content there. And really just test out my skills there. So that's in the works. I've been in the planning phase for that. So I did some design work on it yesterday, I guess. So that is coming soon. Still got to cut some videos, make sure that I'm staying on the up and up with tutorials. It seems like Tailwind has won the poll that I was talking about last week. So I'll be doing some work on Tailwind as well. So really excited to get into more than just Payload, though Payload is still going to be, primary content here. So looking forward to that. But I've got ideas for a website that's a rhyming dictionary. I think I've talked about it before, but it could be a good opportunity to learn also how to do authentication for external users. So having an admin dashboard, but then also creating essentially a web app. So I'm excited to try that out and see how it goes. And then those are the two projects really. Yeah, it's just I want to make my own, I guess, personal website. It's really the website for this channel. And then I would like to have another swing at a rhyming dictionary, which I tried a couple years ago, but I think I'm a better web developer now. I'm definitely a better payload developer now. So let's go ahead. Let's just dive in. So we've got, I guess we should talk about where we left off. Right now, what I want to work on is getting our navigation working. So on the last time, if we just look at, no, that's the config. Looking at our navigation, wherever it is, it just looks like a mess. So there's an error somewhere in here, down here. Then we've got these types that I created out of thin air. So a lot of it needs to change and develop. So we're going to do that. We're going to work on that first. And then I also want to fix some of the styling issues that I've been seeing, like this overlaps here. And then on bigger screen sizes, there's a gap. So we need to work on some pixel values there. And then all the way down in the footer, there's also this, where now this container is the same color as the font here. So can't read that, and I would like to be able to read that. So we are going to spend most of the time, I think, here on the header nav, but we will come down to the footer as well. And so we'll want to also spin up, I think, our admin, which luckily we've got our auto login, so that should come in pretty quickly. There we go. And all the work we're going to be doing is here in this nav. And so we've got the API here. Why is there a hero for our navigation link? Oh, I think it's because it's the relationships. So if we take the depth down to 0, that should go away. Perfect. And we may actually want to do that when we query the nav as well, because I don't think we need all of that content as far as I know. Let's take a look, actually. So when we are querying, so it's not going to be here, it would likely be in the nav bar or the nav itself. Seems like it'll be in the nav itself. And so we may actually even find a different way to do this, but we will wait. All right, so first I'm going to set the depth of our navigation to 0 and see if that breaks anything over here, because we don't need any relationships here outside of just knowing what the relation to is, because that's how we figure stuff out. So I think we're in good shape there. Because we don't need to know what the actual page is. Oh, wait, we do. We need the slug. So why did it just accept that then? So that tells me, if I go down to, what's this TS ignore? All right, so we'll figure that out too. All right, so we got a lot to work on. So nav item, and then this should be where we figure out if it's internal or external. And so here it's still Maybe I need to do a hard refresh real quick. Yeah, so now we're getting undefined for anywhere that there is a relationship. So that does mean wherever it is now, this does need to be 1. And so I wonder in the navigation, no, we won't go too deep into this. All right. So now refresh this again. We should have all of our values back, and we do. Perfect. The blog is there. Great. Get rid of industries. Perfect. Okay, so now let's start at the deepest level. So this is where all of the magic is happening. But as you can see up here, this is gross. This is a lot of different types that don't actually do anything for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to import type, not that type. And then we're going to do navigation, not from there. Navigation. Oh, I think it's just going to be nav from payload types. Is this what it actually is? It is. Okay. And so this needs to be, no, this should be fine. So I think I can just take all of these. Let's do type props is equal to nav. And we want to do React HTML. We really just need class name. I wonder if HTML props has this. Let's just say, I guess div is all I need, so let's just do that. Well, we can do HTML. Okay, HTML element maybe? This is wrong for sure. I need to remember how I did this, and I believe it is here. Text converter maybe. So it's none of these actually. So it should be in our blogs maybe. Client logo, no. CTA FAQ block, perhaps in here. Just looking for where I can get HTML tag type from. And I know I've got an example of it, but I don't want to do search everywhere because then that'll just show up. Table of content props, maybe steps, not config component. It definitely wouldn't be this. I'm just making a big old mess out of this whole project. It's got to be like a button or something. So let's go up to our button. Well, that's wrong too. So I think I wrote down I needed to fix the buttons as well. So let's close these. Okay, so it's definitely not either of the buttons. There. Okay, so that works. I guess I'll just take this. Not exactly what I wanted, but that's fine. Let's make sure I came in here and I said I need to fix buttons. So we'll write in to do fix button types. All right, so let's go back to the nav, which is where we're supposed to be. We'll come in here and we're just going to add the class name. All right, so now this is going to break some stuff and that's okay. So we're going to take our props, set it to props. Okay, no contextual awareness there. That's fine. And then we can get rid of all of this stuff. And then we can unpack our props. Set this equal to props. And then we're going to need class name for sure. And then we need our navigation link. And then in our navigation link, that should have more things like, shouldn't have to do that, but all right, I think it's because navigation link is an array. So that should be fine, but it does mean we need to take what I'm doing up one level first. So let's get this back to a workable state. We will take all of this and go up to our nav bar, which is taking our nav item, which is where the map actually is. All right, so we'll set our type. I don't think I need a class name for this, but let's just double check. We do not. So we can get rid of that. And then we can set this to be props. And now we need to fix this where we do, really, we can just come down here and do props dot navigation link. Let's see, do that. All right, so this actually I don't think needs the question mark there. All right, so now we check item. So disabled does have, can I open anything here? So let's come over here and do a item dot. So is disabled not something that is on our links here? It does not look like it. So, but let's just double check up here in our edit. I do not have it disabled other than no link, but no link is not disabled. So that means that this doesn't need to be there because there's no cases here where there's going to be a disabled link. Now I could do that back like in the future if I wanted to come back and add a disabled, like a button that just says, I don't want to show this anymore. That's definitely possible. So now we come down here and we see nav item. Types of property name are incompatible. So it needs... So the item getting passed down is fine. Well, let's just make sure that nothing's broken here. All right, so our nav has officially disappeared. So let's log, wrong. It needs to be before the return statement. Log, and we'll do props dot navigation link, refresh, undefined. Okay, so that means we need to go up again, another level. Is that true? Yes, it is. So we should be able to come up to here, and we can see navigation link is actually at the very top here. Okay, so we can get rid of property ID is missing in type, but required ID is declared here. So nav bar needs to take an array of props, maybe? Well, that doesn't make sense. All right, so let's see here. So we need to come back quite far with this because we're taking in... Is this a use client? It is. So that's why we're passing down the navigation from there. So really, I just need to adjust this nav links type, which is taking the array. So let's make sure here. All right, so we'll come back for that in just a second. So in here, we need this type, which disabled does not exist in our config. So we can actually look at that too. Where is our nav config? Be down in globals. I can close things as I'm going. Collections, we've got our nav right there. Okay, perfect. All right, so what we need to do is, I guess in this array, field type array, navigation link. All right, so navigation link is not a great name for this, but that's fine. All right, so we're gonna do interface name and we'll do nav links props, and then let's do payload generate types. All right, and so now when we go to our nav bar, so this nav links is actually going to be type of nav links props, and we can try this instead. So nav links, we should be able to do props nav links props, and then just do props, assign props to it. Now, of course, that's still going to break things, but I should be able to do props now, and then what do I get? Okay, nav links props. So I still get class name, but let's go ahead and log our props. So if I do props dot nav links, which I see exists here, I get down to the array, but now I'm concerned where this nav links comes from, if not here, which I don't know if this is going to work now that I broke stuff. Yeah, there we go. So we got navigation link. Let me bring this back down to 0, which is what it should be called. So if I do navigation link, well, no, because nav links shows up. So this is why I should not use an old project. Should have just started from scratch, but that should fix it. So I've got my nav back, but I'm not sure why nav links doesn't exist on type. Nav links props link. So what else is on here? Nested links, okay, which has navigation link in it. So when I do props dot nav links, where is that even coming from? So let's bring in all of our props real quick, which should just be the nav links. Nope, got to refresh again. Because in here, it's the navigation link, and that should be all I have. But this gets called nav links, which don't see that here. So that must mean up here, sorry, up one level. It's because this is called nav links. So what happens if I do that, and then down below, props dot, let's just log the props, see what happens, if it'll let me. Perfect. Weird. So now that I got rid of the name of what I'm presenting, let's just do navigation, or here, better idea. Let's just send the whole response down. Why would I even try anything else here? So the whole response comes down to our nav bar. Let's log the props. All right, so there's the whole response. Love that. So now if I do, props dot navigation link, which for some reason is still not showing up, but it works, and that's what we like to see. So property does not exist on type. Props any. So props. So do I just need props? I know that this doesn't exist. No, that can't be right. So we'll do navigation, links, and let's try generating types again. I don't know what I broke, so let's get that all back together first. Okay. Generate types. That shouldn't matter, but just in case. Oh, wait. The problem is that this needs to be back to our nav since I'm no longer just using, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so since I'm not just using that array where I generated that interface type anymore, I needed to switch back to the full nav because I'm sending the full nav response down from our nav here. So that tsignore should be able to go away. Send down the whole response, receive it here in our nav bar, pass it in as props. We don't need a class name here, so it's just a nav. We can log our navigation link if we need to, but we don't because we know what's happening now. And we come here, and it's possibly null or undefined, so we can just do props dot navigation link, and then that exists.